Welcome back to Horror Recaps. Today, I will be showing you an American horror action film from 2007 titled Flight of the Living Dead. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The opening scene begins with an airplane flying from the United States to Canada. Emily, an air hostess, is speaking with two of her flight mates, who are excited about the trip. Inside the cockpit, the pilot, Raymond, and co-pilot Randy, are conversing. Randy inquires about the special cargo on their plane, to which Raymond responds that it is a top-level government contractor shipment. It appears that an armed guard is stationed in a hull to keep an eye on the special cargo. They are, however, unaware of what they are carrying in it. They are simply instructed to contact Dr. Bennett and his assistant, who are both in the first class, if there are any anomalies in the cargo. We also get to know that it is Raymond's final flight before he retires. A police officer named Truman Burroughs is handcuffing a criminal named Frank. When an air hostess arrives, Frank flirts with her, but Truman intervenes and asks her to leave. The two couples, Peter Sarah, and Tony Jackie, are on the same flight. Billy, a well-known golfer, is also on the plane with his wife, Anna, who is irritated when Billy's fan interrupts them. Meanwhile, Frank tries to persuade Truman that he is not guilty, but Truman dismisses him. After a few moments, the weather worsens, so Raymond instructs the passengers to remain seated with their seatbelts fastened. Suddenly, the plane begins to shake, which causes the special cargo box to fall onto the guard's leg. As a result, his leg becomes trapped beneath the box, causing him to bleed. Just then, the cargo box is unlocked, and a lady emerges from it. The lady appears to be mentally disturbed and has a headache. When the stuck guard notices the lady, he immediately begins shooting at her. The lady quickly hides and requests the guard to not fire at her. She introduces herself as a Medcon Labs scientist and wishes to meet Dr. Bennett. The guard tells her to come out while pretending not to shoot, but as soon as she does, he shoots and eliminates her. After finishing her off, the guard starts reloading his gun, but when he is finished, he does not find the lady on the floor. Suddenly, a terrifying creature appears and attacks the guard. After this, the pilots learn that something is wrong with the cargo. Elsewhere, a secret government meeting is being conducted where the colonel explains that Dr. Bennett is working on a secret project in which a virus, if successful, can resurrect a dead person with enhanced abilities. Colonel believes Dr. Bennett is very close to success and attempts to persuade the president to approve the project. In the next scene, Tony is getting intimate with his best friend, Peter's girlfriend, inside the plane's washroom. A few moments later, the plane goes through another turbulence. As a result, both passengers and flight attendants return to their seats. The plane begins to shake more violently, causing the luggage to fall. As a result, the passengers are terrified. Raymond lowers the plane slightly so that the shaking is reduced. After that, Raymond instructs Randy to check on the passengers to see if they are all right. Randy approaches Dr. Bennett, who requests that he along with his co-workers inspect the cargo. Soon, Randy and two of the scientists go down to the cargo compartment to make sure everything is in order. When they enter the compartment, they discover that the cargo box is empty. Lucas freaks out and orders the other two to leave immediately. They flee, but the same lady follows them. Lucas recognizes the lady as his wife Kelly, who is now turned into a zombie. Soon after, Kelly attacks Lucas, and the guard, who is now a zombie, attacks the other scientist. However, Randy manages to escape from the compartment. Meanwhile, Frank suggests that Truman use the restroom. When Truman stands up, the plane hits a high bump, causing him to bang his head and fall unconscious. Frank takes advantage of the situation and frees himself from the handcuffs. A few moments later, an air hostess named Megan discovers Truman bleeding and immediately calls Raymond to inform him of Truman's condition and the missing prisoner. After a while, Truman regains consciousness and walks in search of Frank. Randy, on the other hand, is terrified and yells at Dr. Bennett, asking what he has boarded in the cargo. After getting no answer, he rushes to the cockpit and orders Raymond to land the plane immediately or else, everyone will perish. Randy is so terrified that he is unable to explain the situation to the captain. The captain eventually calms him down and inquires as to what is wrong. Randy isn't certain it's a human, but he tells the captain that it's eating people. He then requests that the plane be landed immediately, but Raymond states that he is unable to do so. Raymond contacts the TSA, Paul, and summons him to the cockpit to inform him of the incident. Paul agrees to investigate and report back. Meanwhile, Megan questions Truman about the prisoner and what he did. Truman reveals that Frank conned an accountant, stole a large sum of money, and crashed a private plane. After hearing this, Megan expresses her willingness to assist him in locating Frank. Meanwhile, Yellowknife Air Traffic Control locates the plane that had been missing for an hour. A staff member contacts Los Angeles Dispatch to inform them about the plane, but he is instructed to request that the plane return to the United States because the Canadian government has decided not to allow the plane to land in Canada. In the plane, Paul questions Dr. Bennett about the cargo, but he refuses to reveal anything because it is a highly classified project, related to national security. Following this, Paul believes Frank is in the cargo compartment and asks Truman to accompany him there. They both go down to the cargo compartment and summon Frank and the other scientists, but no one responds. Hence, they decide to separately look for the missing ones. A few moments later, while crawling through the tunnel, Paul is attacked by the scientist, who is now transformed into a zombie. Paul freaks out and shoots the zombie. Truman is also attacked by the guard zombie, but Paul arrives just in time to save him. During this time, Paul accidentally fires a bullet, which travels up to the passenger hall and eliminates an air hostess. Sarah becomes ill when she sees the blood and rushes to the restroom, causing her to vomit. Everyone is terrified, but Emily manages to calm the passengers and contacts the cockpit to inform them of the chaos. While she is on the phone with Raymond, a zombie bites and eliminates her. After hearing Emily's screams, Randy rushes to her, but after finding that it's too late, he eliminates the zombie and closes the cargo door. Elsewhere, Sarah is attacked in the restroom by a zombie. Peter rushes to the restroom when he hears her voice, but the door is locked. Peter, with the assistance of Tony, breaks down the door and discovers Sarah being bitten by the zombie. Peter tries to help her, but he is attacked by another zombie. Tony and Stacy are able to free Peter, but he is already lifeless. Megan calls Raymond right away and informs him of the tragedy unfolding outside. Hearing this, Raymond assures Megan that they'll land wherever they can and asks her to keep the passengers calm. After this, Megan begins bandaging Stacy, who has been recently bitten. Elsewhere, while Randy is tightening the cargo doorknob bolts, a zombified Emily awakens and bites him. After this, she goes on a rampage and begins biting the other passengers on the plane. When Dr. Bennett sees this, he panics and rushes to the cockpit door. Billy soon arrives and asks Dr. Bennett as to what is the matter. Emily arrives at the same time to bite them, but Billy knocks her out with his golf bat. The zombies eventually emerge from the cargo compartment through the other side and begin biting the passengers. As a result, the passengers begin to transform into zombies, and chaos ensues. Paul, Truman, and Billy begin shooting the zombies one by one. Stacy, on the other hand, has turned into a zombie and moves towards Megan as soon as she notices her. However, Frank arrives in the nick of time and knocks Stacy down with a fire extinguisher cylinder. Meanwhile, the Colonel learns about the deadly virus in the plane and discovers that they lack the antivirus for it. Hence, he orders the defense minister to blow up the entire plane before it reaches a populated area. Inside the plane, Dr. Bennett, Billy, and his wife crawl through the ceiling tunnel to reach the cockpit. Meanwhile, Randy, who has been bitten, rushes to the cockpit, and Raymond lets him in. As soon as he steps inside the cockpit, he transforms into a zombie and attacks the captain. Somewhere else in the plane, Frank and Megan meet Paul and Truman. The four of them take cover and devise a strategy to eliminate the zombies. Meanwhile, the plane hits a bump, causing Dr. Bennett to fall down onto the cargo. When the zombies see him, they bite him up collectively. Meanwhile, Billy and his wife arrive at the location where Paul and others are taking their cover, so they join them. Megan keeps trying to contact the cockpit, but no one responds. They then assume that the captains have perished and that the plane is on autopilot. To make matters worse, the group finds out that they are almost out of ammunition. Hence, they decide to head down to the cargo in order to restock weapons. Truman comes up with an idea and combines various chemicals. He then lights it up and drops it into the cargo compartment, causing a blast. Many zombies are eliminated as a result of the explosion. Truman then jumps down to the cargo compartment and quickly returns after retrieving some ammo. After a while, the group notices a jet and realize that it has arrived to destroy the plane. As a result, they decide to enter the cockpit and send a signal to the jet indicating that they are still alive. Frank, Truman, and Billy head towards the cockpit, eliminating zombies on their way. Frank and Truman make it to the cockpit, but Billy is attacked by zombies. When his wife notices this, she rushes to save him, but they are both surrounded by zombies. As soon as the zombies approach, Billy opens the plane's entrance door, causing the zombies to get blasted outside. At the cockpit, Frank and Truman attempt to control the plane, but the jet simultaneously launches a missile. The plane detects the warning, causing Frank and Truman to panic. They quickly turn off the autopilot mode and attempt to change the plane's direction. When the pilot of the jet notices this, he learns that the civilians are still alive and decides to abort the mission. However, the missile collides with the plane, causing the plane to lose its balance. The zombies are blown out of the air loops, and one of them collides with the jet, causing it to explode. Frank and Truman regain control of the plane and crash landed on a hilly terrain. Fortunately, Paul, Megan, Frank, and Truman are able to survive, and they proceed towards the town. A few moments later, it appears that some of the zombies are still alive. The movie ends as the zombies also head towards the town. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.